I remember in particular one thing that happened early on that was kind of clicked things. It just came to my mind that there was a section of music that I just finished writing, which was the O Krishna section, when in the first part when Arjuna is pleading to Krishna to tell him what to do.
Right.
And I had originally written it just for voice, just for the chorus. And the music was essentially like that, sort of very slow, and strings playing that. Krishna is what the chorus is singing. Krishna. And then I remember saying to you, "Oh, what would it sound like if you improvised something on that?"
Right.
And then you did something which was so, like, amazingly fantastic sounding that, oh well, this is the way to go. Then this just is. So maybe you can do a little bit of what you were doing now.
I think it was like
all of those instrumentalists, all the Western instrumentalists are playing essentially Western style contemporary classical music things.
Right.
Some occasionally, fairly dissonant.
Right.
In the vision section, particularly, there's a lot of things where the strings are doing a lot of effects. The string players is the Eiffel String Quartet, who I've worked with a lot recording. And they're of course fantastic. I would give them instruction like play, starting low, gradually playing higher and higher, some sort of extremely grating sounds. Was essentially almost the only instruction that I would give them for certain sections. So, when to start it and when to stop it. And I also wanted another improvising element, which we also talked about a bit before, which is the saxophone player. Bob Franceschini is a jazz player. The instructions I gave him were entirely non-musical.
Interesting.
They were entirely dramatic.
Right.
And his part was essentially the score that would indicate sort of where he started and where he stopped.
Right.
And typically a jazz player would be used to getting some written out chord changes on the beat sheet, so he would understand, be able to easily understand how that relates to the kind of things he's been trained to do and practiced and all this stuff. Where in this case, I wanted him to think not so much about
harmony.
What is the functional harmony, because what I was writing for these sections, the functional harmony doesn't really apply exactly. But to think about, in this part, I would say, something. This is the forces are gathering at the battlefield at the beginning, and part of what's playing underneath them was some sort of martial drumming and things like that. And sort of think about, think about that. There's other parts where it's play very, very high and very, very quietly. And then the other element, which we haven't talked about that much, is of course the tenor, which is Tony Boutte, who's singing.
Yes.
And he's singing entirely in Sanskrit.
That's right.
Which is difficult.
Yes.
To do.
Yes, it is.
He does quite a good job. And his part is difficult. There's a lot of high singing.
Yes.
But he's not an operatic sounding tenor, although he's a classical singer. He does essentially new music and early music. He has very good microphone technique also. And part of the way this was written was with the idea that instead of having some held-in tenor who's going to be singing to the back of the house, you'd be able to be more intimate and be able to sort of use the microphone in a way.
Because there are sections where representing Arjuna's kind of breaking down quality. I mean, his voice actually becomes quite fragile.
Yes.
And it's intentionally fragile instead of being always a projection.
Exactly.
Rishikesha tava prakirtya yaga prarishyati anuradhyatecha rakshansi vitani disho dravanti sarve namansyanti.
Badal Roy was the first musician to really take this instrument and play it properly with Western musicians. He was able to take all of that, which is the tabla, which has a cultural background and all of that, yet fit it so naturally within music from anywhere. His history is amazing. He came to America, and his first gig was with Miles Davis, the great Miles Davis, and in his band, and he played with him. He's on 8 Miles Davis records.
He's on all the first electric ones.
All the first electric.
He's on the corner, Bitches Brew, and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Right? There's this almost like Bollywood kind of element that's introduced to it.
Right.
That's where the tabla playing is.
Right.
The singing is sort of joyful.
Joyful, yeah, light.
झूठा लोग कहे घर मेरा जग हर में बोलर डॉलर झूठा लोग कहे घर मेरा जग हर में बोलर डॉलर कोई नहीं है तेरा
Original singers, I went to talk to Anonymous 4 after one of their concerts, and I asked them if they'd be interested, and they saw some of the music and heard a little bit that I had done, and they said that they would.
Right.
And then unfortunately they sort of broke up and things. So actually 2 are still remaining, singing with singing on this piece on the recording, and in the live performances they will be as well. What I'm hoping that people will take away from this piece is not so much some answers to what the Gita is about, but just to even pose some questions. If people are there listening to the music, either in concert or on the CD, that they have some, it might make them think about some questions a little bit. And that's really my only aspiration for that.